Hi guys, welcome back to my channel once again. This is Batok with Ola and my name is Mojola Lua. Thank you so much for stopping by once again. I went through the channel, the comments, and I can see that I have a backlog of questions to answer. So today I'm just going to start. And I think I want to start with the oldest question, in the line of questions. There are so many questions. I know that I'm going to have to do it in a series of videos. But today we're going to talk about 2 questions. But before we go into that, I'd like to thank you so much for following me this far. Thank you for your subscription. Thank you for your likes and thank you for your comments on the channel. They have really warmed my heart. I'd like to thank law school students because your feedback has been very amazing. I'm glad that I'm able to help you with your studies. Someone left a comment and said that they play my videos like a podcast. They just listen to it while they're getting other things done, and then when they're reading much later in the day, it helps them understand better. So I'm really grateful for that. It's something that you can do too. Matter of fact, when I started the channel, it was like a podcast style because I wasn't ready to put my face in the videos, but for the encouragement of people like Toby Lujilo and Joy Uba, who said, come on, put your face, give it a try. And I did, and it worked out, and I really liked it, and I'm glad that you also like it. And so that's why my face has been on the channel for this long, and I'm really grateful that I dared to overcome that concern or fear, as it were. So whether you want to watch my face in it, or you want to listen to it like a podcast, you're welcome. Just make sure that you're getting value. I'd also like to say that please try and like the videos as you watch them. I know that you love them as you watch them because I see the feedback, but please like the video. What that does is that it gets the video to circulate farther and wider. I know that we've gotten to 1,000 subscribers, but the views are a little poor. So at the moment, the channel is still not monetized, and like I've always said, it will be really cool to make money from doing something I love, which is this. So please help the ministry, like the videos as you see them, so that YouTube can circulate them and we can have wider reach, and also leave comments as you've been doing. And if you have a personal concern, please mail me at houseoflivingstones@gmail.com. I see a number of people asking for my WhatsApp contact every now and then, asking for my phone number. I would not put my phone number on the channel. I don't think that's safe enough or private enough. But if you would mail me at House of Living Stones, I will get to you faster than I can even get to you on WhatsApp or by phone call. Take that for it, and mail me at House of Living Stones with any concerns. And if you want to take the conversation further, as regards what we talk about on the channel, please just mail me at House of Living Stones. That should suffice. I will get to it. I will reply you as soon as I can, and I'm sure that you will be able to get your concern resolved. So having said that, let's go into the 2 questions. I know that someone asked about how to summarize a case, and someone asked about using FIRAC. In fact, I'll call it FIRAC because now there's an F added to it. I know that FIRAC is a principle or a mnemonic that we used back in school, in college, to break down cases, law cases. So I'm just going to be explaining how to use it. And as I explain that, it would also explain how to summarize a case, for the person that also asked that question. So in this video, we're going to be talking about FIRAC and how to break down a law case, a decided case, or a reported case, So let's get right into it. FIRAC stands for facts, issues, rule of law, the application, that's A, and the conclusion. So usually we're encouraged back in college, back in university, to break down law cases, reported cases, using FIRAC, and it often comes handy during exams. You're asked to summarize this scenario. FIRAC will help you, and I hope that you will get it as I talk about. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to use Donoghue V Stevenson, which is a decided case. There's a video on that on the channel. I'll leave a link to it in the description box. Please watch Donoghue V Stevenson. And then I'm going to use a fictitious case just to explain how FIRAC works. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. So let's get right into it. Facts. In Donoghue V Stevenson, if you remember the case, or if you've read it, or if you've watched the video, or if you would just go and watch it now and come back to this video, Donoghue V Stevenson is about Mrs. Donoghue, or Miss Donoghue, who went to a pub to get a drink with her friend, and then she found a decomposing snail in her drink, and then she sued Stevenson Bottling Company, for their negligence at the time. And it was a decided case. It was a landmark case wherein the court established the fact that, producers of soft drinks and, of products, packaged products, owe their customers a duty of care to ensure that it's in, good condition, it's packaged in good condition and optimal condition for their health. Because, you cannot tell what you're getting because it's sealed, it's packaged. So they have to exercise utmost due diligence and care when producing it to ensure that you get a good and healthy product that will not affect you the way that it affected, Donoghue, which made us sue the company. So that's basically Donoghue and Stevenson. Now, if you want to apply FIRAC, FIRAC is facts. What are the facts of the case? You can do it in points, in bullets, if you're in school, and if it will help, or you can do it in paragraphs. The facts of the case here are that there's a woman named Mrs. Donoghue or Miss Donoghue. She went to a pub in the UK with her friend, and they bought drinks. Then her own drink had a decomposing snail at the bottom of it, inside of it. And then she went home, and then she fell sick at some point, and then she sued Stevenson Bottling Company because she claimed that, the decomposing snail had caused her to fall ill. She sued them for a sum of money, and then she got a decision, a favorable decision at the end of the day. That's the fact of the case from Donoghue's perspective. Stevenson, if you want, you can also add the fact that Stevenson contended or Stevenson did not contend it. This was their argument, that was their argument, depending on the case that's before you. So that's the brief facts of the case. That's fact. What's the issue here? The issue is negligence. The issue is the course of action, so to speak. That is what took them to court. What is the legal issue that is being dealt with here? And that is negligence. That's FI. Then R is what's the rule of law. The rule of law is that people like or producers, companies like Stevenson Bottling Company owe their customers a duty of care. That is, they must not be negligent in the production and handling of their products until it gets to the final consumer, such that the person that is getting the final good will get it in perfect condition as value for the money they are paying for the goods. That's the rule of law. Duty of care, that's the rule of law. The rule of law, the rule of duty of care, and the rule against negligence, for producers and manufacturers of goods and services. So that's the rule of law. That's R. The application is that Stevenson failed in this duty and then had an effect on Donoghue. So you have to establish the cause and effect. The application here of the principle of duty of care is the failure of Stevenson to actually live up to that duty, which occasioned harm or injury to Donoghue. That's the application. And then the conclusion is that after going to court, the court decided that Stevenson owed the duty of care, failed at it, and therefore had to pay for it, and he paid in the sum of so and so and so for that. So that's just brief. Well, if you're using this for an exam or something, you have to be a little more elaborate. For instance, in the application, you can talk about the legs of the doctrine of negligence. Talk about there must be a duty of care. That duty must have been breached and must have occasioned injury to the person owed the duty, and the injury occasioned to that person must have been a direct result or effect or consequence of the omission to live up to that duty of care by the defendant in the case. So there's a plaintiff, there's a defendant. Donoghue is the plaintiff or claimant, and Stevenson is the defendant. So the defendant must have breached the duty of care they hold to the claimant, and it must have occasioned injury, which must have been a direct cause of their failure to live up to that duty. And so that is how to explain it using FIRAC. I'm just being brief about this, but I hope that you get the essential breakdown of how to use FIRAC. So for the person that asked how to summarize a case, if you're reading a case, for instance, you're reading a law report, you should also use FIRAC. So you draw out the facts of the case. A went to the market to find B. He got to the market, he did not find B. He asked C, who was supposed to be caring for B, and C did not know the whereabouts of B, and so he sued C for negligence and inability to produce B that was lawfully under his care. Simple, that's the fact. Now the issue is that there's a duty of care owed by C to B, which he failed to live up to. That's the issue now. And the rule is that people like C owe B a duty of care, and if they fail, there are consequences. And people like A can sue because they have the lawful capacity to sue in that case. So that's the rule. Now the application here is that C has failed in this duty, and so is guilty of negligence of not living up to that duty of care. So that's the application. And then the conclusion is that having been found guilty by the court awarded so damages against him, or the court ruled in so and so's favor. So that's essentially how to break down a case. Draw out the facts, you draw out the issue, that is whether so and so has breached so and so duty, whether so and so has done so and so. That's the issue. Then you draw out the rule of law, you draw out the application of that rule in that particular scenario, and then you draw out the conclusion. So that's how to use FIRAC, and that's how to break down a case. So let me use a fictitious example. I'll drop the case of John and Hopewell Nigeria Limited. So John was on the Lekki Expressway one day. He was driving and reached an intersection and was stopped by a red light. And then Mr. K, who is the driver of Hopewell Nigeria Limited, was driving the company truck, and he also reached this intersection from another direction, and he was stopped by a red light. So when the light went green, John decided to move, and Mr. K, running his own red light, bumped into John, and there was an accident. Now there's a tort that has happened, and now John has decided to sue Hopewell Nigeria Limited, taking them to court for what Mr. K did. The issue I want to draw out, so that's the fact. Now the issue I want to draw out is whether Mr. K should have been sued instead of Hopewell Nigeria Limited, or whether Hopewell Nigeria Limited is a right party before the court. That's an issue that can be discussed. That's an issue that can be drawn out depending on the context. For instance, if it's your exams, you will know what issue is to be drawn out in that scenario. And even if you're reading a law report, there are several issues in one decided case. There could be issues of jurisdiction, there could be issues of proper parties, there could be issues of laches and acquiescence. There could be so many issues. So you draw out the issues one by one. So it might not be just one issue. But yeah, I want to draw out the issue of a proper party before the court, and I want to draw out the issue of whether, Hopewell Nigeria Limited should have been sued, or Mr. K should have been sued alone, or both of them should have been sued together. Now, the rule of law is in the principle of vicarious liability, the agent of a disclosed principal is not liable. So John was right in suing Hopewell Nigeria Limited because Mr. K was working for them as their driver, driving their truck, running their errand. He had not gone on a frolic of his own. So they will be held responsible for the acts of their agent, who is Mr. K. So that is the rule of law. Now the application in this instance, I've already explained it alongside, which is that Mr. K is actually, the rule is the rule of vicarious liability now. So, and it is that the agent of a disclosed principal is not liable. Now the application is that Mr. K was running the company's errand, driving the company's car, not on a frolic of his own. So Hopewell Nigeria Limited is a rightful party, has been rightfully sued based on vicarious liability. That's the application of that rule. And then the conclusion is that John is a proper party before the court because he has a cause of action, and Hopewell Nigeria Limited is a proper party before the court because they are liable and responsible for the act of Mr. K. So on the issue of vicarious liability or proper parties, the courts will rule in favor of John because Hopewell Nigeria Limited is responsible for the acts of Mr. K, their agent. So that is how to break down a case or summarize a case using FIRAC. So I hope that I've answered the two questions from the two different angles. Please leave me comments in the comment section. I also want to say that please, if you ask a question on the channel, I'd like you to watch out for subsequent videos, because I might answer your question in any of those videos. And if you cannot find your answer, please notify me again or mail me directly at houseoflivingstones@gmail.com. And you know, most times I even leave a link to the answer to your question back on the question. So I'm going to do that for these particular questions that I've answered in this video, and I'll try to keep up with that. So thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget, like the video and let's spread the word and help me make some money as well. I will see you in my very next video. Toodles.